As a global leader, you operate on a map of opportunity. And for India, that map has felt, well, pretty consistent for a long time. But here's a thought. What if the map you've been relying on is actually dangerously out of date? Think about it. For the last 20 years, your map of India probably had just two pins dropped on it, right? Bengaluru and Hyderabad. They were the absolute centers of gravity for global capability. And look, for very good reason. They built the entire foundation we're standing on. But the real strategic question we have to ask today is this. What if holding on to that old map is no longer a safe bet? What if it's actually costing you the future of your global operations? So to really understand this shift, let's just get a lay of the land. Right now, India is home to over 1,600 Global Capability Centers, or GCCs. This is the established landscape, the world we know. Okay, now look at where we're headed. By 2030, we're not just talking about a small increase. We're forecasting over 2,500 GCCs. And the workforce, it's set to double to 4 million people. So the million-dollar question is, where is all this new growth, all this new talent actually going to come from? Because let's be honest, the traditional hubs are feeling the pressure. Attrition in the big metros is hitting between 20 and 25% every year. That's like a quarter of your specialized, high-value workforce just walking out the door. That's not just a headache, it's simply not sustainable for growth. This exact pressure is what's forcing a major strategic pivot. We're now looking at India's new capability frontier, what we're calling the Tier-2 Advantage. This, right here, is where the map is being completely redrawn. And yeah, the business case, it starts with the economics. It has to. You're looking at office rentals in cities like Ahmedabad or Indore that are up to 70% lower than in Bengaluru. This isn't just shaving off a few points. It's a fundamental reset of your entire cost structure. And this is really important, this is not just a cost play. The opportunity here is so much bigger. It's built on 4 key pillars: a deep, untapped talent pool, infrastructure that's maturing at an incredible pace, some really aggressive state-level incentives, and a genuine, tangible ease of doing business. And this brings up a whole new dynamic. State governments are now in a race, actively competing for your investment. You've got Gujarat offering subsidies on both CapEx and OpEx. Madhya Pradesh, they're offering up to 50% payroll reimbursement. They're literally de-risking your expansion for you. Okay, so let's move from the high-level strategy to something specific, something real. Let's talk about the Indore story. This is where all that theory hits the ground and becomes reality. So there was this Boston-based healthcare analytics firm, and they were facing this exact challenge. Bengaluru was just saturated. So they took a strategic leap of faith. They made a bet on Indore. And you've got to see what happened in just 24 months. First off, a 38% reduction in their total cost of operations. Compared to their Bengaluru model, that's a massive, immediate impact right on the bottom line. Second, and this is maybe even more important, their attrition rate dropped to just 9%. 9! That is the kind of stability that lets you build deep, institutional knowledge. The kind that builds a loyal, truly high-performing team. And finally, this is the real kicker. 2 patents filed for AI-driven diagnostics. This proves the point, right? These new hubs aren't just back offices anymore. They are becoming true centers of excellence, driving high-value, cutting-edge innovation. So what does this all mean for your global strategy? Well, it means the old playbook, it's obsolete. It's officially time for a new one. For years, the big strategic question in boardrooms all over the world has been pretty simple. Why India? That is just not the right question anymore. The new, much more sophisticated, and frankly far more critical question for you today is, which part of India? Getting that answer right is what will define the next decade of your global growth. But how do you even begin to navigate this incredibly complex, fast-moving landscape? Well, that's precisely why we created India Inside, the GCC Advantage. This is a strategic business podcast, and it's designed specifically for you, the CXOs, the decision makers of the world's leading companies. It's all about decoding India's incredible transformation into the world's capability hub. In every single episode, we go way beyond the headlines. We deliver in-depth data, we break down real-world case studies like the one in Indore, we decode those complex state policies, and we share actual strategies from your global peers who are already making this shift. And our promise to you is very simple. In every conversation, we will translate India's complexity into clear, actionable business insight. We're here to give you the clarity you need so you can act with total confidence. So, to get this critical advantage, the next step is really straightforward. Just search for India inside the GCC Advantage and subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube. Because, let's be clear, getting this new map of India right, it isn't just an option anymore. It's your next, and it might just be your most significant global advantage. I hope you'll join the conversation. India inside the GCC Advantage. This is where global business meets India's new capability frontier.